Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our service on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. My name is Donna Maloney, and I have the privilege of being your platform assistant today, and Joe Ercolino is our guardian angel, so we welcome you. Today's service is entitled, Speak to Me, My Wise Soul. During our service, Laura DuBois and Reverend Angela, Laura is in the house, they will unite to share a synthesis of music and prose with the desire of creating a reflective, creative space for you to allow the wisdom of your soul to reveal itself to you. Since this is a special service, we will be following a different format this morning than our usual Sunday service format. And at this time, I invite Reverend Angela up to begin our very special service this morning.
Good morning. Let's take a moment. When I first come in here, there's two people. Sometimes a few more, but it's nice to see all of you who have just joined, whether it's here in person or via Zoom. I welcome you. And I am excited this morning. Well, I'm excited many mornings, but today is really special because Laura DuBois is with us. And today we get to co-create together, like Donna said, with a synthesis of music and some poetry and some reading, but most importantly, it's an opportunity for us to, reflect within. I know we do participate in this community in a lot of sharing, where there's an opportunity for you to share throughout the service. But besides talking and engaging our intellectual mind, which is very necessary, it's important to have reflective time to contemplate, to go within. And so I love how music speaks to our soul, poetry speaks to our soul, images speak to our soul, moving our body. And so it is that opportunity for you to possibly, I'll explain more, participate in some of that. And if you just want to sit and be, that is perfectly okay. So before we begin, it is my pleasure to celebrate Laura. First off, she's a beloved friend. I know that we don't connect often sometimes, but whenever I do, I always feel at home. I feel an instantaneous connection, and I think that's how I felt from the very beginning when we connected here in this community. So yes, Laura was one of our amazing musical directors here for a very long time at Unity by the Shore before her and Gary, her husband, moved to Oregon. And how many years now are you serving as the musical director at Unity in the Valley in Eugene? 9. Oh my God, it's been that long. But we always have the gift because she comes back and visits. And she always wants to share her gift, her light, her beauty, her passion, and her grace. And I found out this morning that Laura is on the ministerial path with Unity Worldwide Ministries. Isn't that awesome? And during the pandemic, she created the organization Connecting from the Heart. Is that correct? Laura, can we give Laura the mic? Does she have a mic? There's one right there. So Laura, do you want to share a little bit about that and whatever else you want to say this morning?
Thank you. If it's easier, I could just go there. No. I'll just come up here.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so wonderful to be here. It is home. This is my first spiritual home, really. And I'm just delighted to see everybody. And yes, we do have a nonprofit, Connecting from the Heart. It's an online resource of music, meditation, and mental wellness videos. And now we're also doing in-person workshops, and we're working primarily with formerly incarcerated people right now. So it's like a dream come true, getting to bring the healing of music and meditation and learning about little tools to help us overcome anxiety and stress and sadness or grief. So if you are interested in checking that out, we have lots and lots of music on there. You can just hit play and it'll go for a long time. We have 76 videos now, and it's it's the acronym for Connecting from the Heart, cfth.us.org. And if you subscribe, it's totally free, and you'll always get a little email from me when we have a new release. Love to have you join us there. But most importantly, I'm just thrilled and grateful for this opportunity. I love nothing more than to co-create with Angela here. This is delightful. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And you can't leave without another hug. So could one of you put that those initials for the website in the chat? It is cfth.us.org. And so this way you guys can write that down.
We have 3 of Matt's videos on there.
Yes, it's cfth.us.org. We good? And so let us take this a moment as we center ourselves, as we begin our journey. So the title that was shared with you is Connecting to My Wise Soul. And so how do we actually define soul? How do we describe soul? And that varies from faith tradition to individual. And so I'm going to share just some of them with you this morning. Charles Fillmore, co-creator of the Unity movement, in different times in his writing, at one point he described soul as that spiritual aspect of ourself that is connected to all that if you believe in coming in another lifetime, that carries all of our memories, the good, the bad, the ugly, the wisdom, all of that. And then later on in his writings, he says that we are body, soul, and spirit. And so he made a distinction between soul and spirit. So the soul for him was all that we hold in human consciousness, whether it is unconscious or conscious. And then he referred to spirit as the I am. When we look at the Hasidic Jews, they believe that the soul is the spark of the divine in every human. Does that sound familiar? And Buddhists say it is our big self, or self with a capital S, and I think we will find that in the Course in Miracles as well, the big S, correct? And the Quakers call it our inner light, our inner teacher. Thomas Merton, a Trappist monk, author, mystic, and activist, called it our true self, or real self. And Parker Palmer, a Quaker, a author of numerous books, one of my new favorite authors, one of them in particular, The Hidden Wholeness, he calls the soul the being in human being. And he states that there really is not one correct name for the soul is mystery. And that all that ways that we describe it are really synonymous, just more descriptive and expansive of soul. And he said that what really is, most important is how you personally describe it and define it, because we are called in to cultivate a relationship with our own soul, to go within, to seek the wisdom of what is going on with our humanity and to embrace it and to learn from it, and to also know that it is always connected to the I am, our higher self, and all that is God, that goes by many names. And he even invites us into coming up with an image that might represent soul to us, or a metaphor. And he created a metaphor that he shares in his book, Hidden Wholeness, and he likens it to a wild animal. And he says, if you enter into the woods, tromping and stomping, think of any, a fox or anything, will they come out or will they hide? And so he likens that to us, that sometimes, with our monkey minds and the storms brewing, or we can be hard on ourselves and we're so busy that there's that, wildness, so to speak, that we can't really call the soul forward. It sometimes is kind of hidden. And because of that, he created something called third things, which I'm going to speak of in just a minute. But I want to share this metaphor he uses of the soul as a wild animal. And he states this: like a wild animal, the soul is tough, resilient, resourceful, savvy, and self-sufficient. It knows how to survive in hard places. I have learned about these qualities during my bouts with depression. In that deadly darkness, the faculties I had always depended on collapsed. My intellect was useless. My emotions were dead. My will was impotent. My ego was shattered. But from time to time, deep in the thickets of my inner wilderness, I could sense the presence of something that knew how to stay alive even when the rest of me wanted to die. That something was my tough and tenacious soul. So Jesus also spoke about the wilderness, where he invited us over and over throughout the Christian scriptures to enter the wilderness. And it was synonymous of finding that time alone. And we see in some of the Bible passages where he was, quote unquote, tempted by the devil. And so the devil is not an evil deity, but it is that monkey mind, right? Those thoughts where we're judging and condemning, and we don't, the things we may call demons, that depression or anxiety. And if you know anybody any of us can experience that, but if you know anybody in your life who has suffered from mental dis-ease, it is very real. It is very challenging. And being able to come and instead of running from it, to befriend it. And that is the paradox, right? The very thing we want to, that is uncomfortable and painful, we often want to run from, get away from. But the paradox is that it is also the gift, if we can embrace it, if we can embrace ourselves and allow it for us to be gentle and nurturing to ourselves, like we would to any precious animal or any precious soul in our lives. And so what he created is, well, he didn't create it, but what he coined is something called third things. And what a third thing is knowing that the soul can be shy, is this. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to sit down and think of what's bothering me today. How many of you are excited about that sometimes? Not really, right? But if we put on a piece of music, if we go take a walk in nature, sit under a tree, listen to Laura's beautiful music, read an article or a piece of poetry, how many of you are like, oh my God, that just touched something in me? It is speaking to me. And I didn't have to call it up on command, so then the soul can enter and speak through these quote unquote third things. And so this morning, we are going to use 3 third things. Actually, maybe more than that. We have Laura's beautiful music. And I am going to share some photos that Matt took for me that corresponded to an experience I had in nature that really spoke to me about our soul journey. And then I'm going to share something entitled, an excerpt of Spring is Mud and Miracle, which is written by Parker Palmer. And then there is a poem called Jailbreak. So what is going to happen is this. I am going to read or talk about the third thing. And then I'm going to take you into like a meditation, meditative state, so to speak, for you to ponder while Laura will play softly. And then when I'm done, she will continue to play beautifully and profoundly. And during that time, you have a choice to do several things. You have a notebook. You could journal something that arises. You can take the journal with you. The only thing I ask for are the pencils and the colored pencils back. You can color. We took out some chairs, and if you'd like to go back there and move, I invite you into that. Some of these are a little vulnerable and like, oh, that's a little weird for some people, and that's okay. But if it calls to you, I invite you into it. One of the things, I am enrolled in Unity Worldwide Spiritual Direction Program, and there is no hiding there. They want your soul to speak, everything to speak to you, so they will, I'm dancing and recording myself dancing, and I'm doing all these things, and you know what? It is changing my life. So I don't force any of it on you, but it has been profound to me to get out of that little, ooh, this is a little strange. I'm used to just reading or sitting in a chair praying. So again, no judgment. And again, at home, if you joined us after the announcement, I invite you to either clear a space if moving. I know Carol Penn is on, so that might call to her and other people. I don't know if Marie is on, but anyway, to grab a pencil, something to write with, and if you want some colored pencil. So I invite you into this experience, and at the end, we'll have a time of sharing gratitude and whatever would come up for us. So, with that said, let us begin. And so here are 4 photos. This is from trees that line my walking path by my house that I asked Matt to take. So I was early this week, I was, on my way walking, and one of the streets that, I take to on my walking path, there's all different trees that line it, but then there's this one section where they're all the same type of tree, and I don't know what the name of it is. But in any event, I was watching, one of them was completely bare with hardly any budding, and then there was one next to it with shoots opening, and some closed, some shoots opening, and then there was another with all tight buds, and then right next to that there were leaves that were green and vibrant and popping up into its fullness. And I was they're really literally right next to each other, and I just was oh my gosh, this is an amazing metaphor, right? That number one, that we're experiencing all the seasons, right? At the same time, the closeness, the waiting period, the beginning to blossom period, the fully open and ready to new life kind of experience. It also struck me that, on the soul level, we are where we need to be. We are where we need to be on our journey, in our evolutionary stage. And even though we're all, on this spiritual journey, it also reminded me that everybody's in a different place in their journey, all at the same time. So it just really spoke to me. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the metaphor of the closed bud for just a minute. And so what came up for me, one of the books I'm reading right now is When the Heart Waits, written by Sue Monk Kidd. And she talks about the importance of waiting, where we don't think anything is happening. And she likens it to the tight bud and actually the cocoon, before a butterfly goes through all its stages. So I'd like to share this with you. And she writes, when you're waiting, you're not doing nothing. You're doing the most important something there is. You're allowing your soul to grow up. If you can't be still and wait, you can't become the full-bloomed divine essence you were created to be. Pretty profound. How many of us like to wait? We don't even like waiting in line, waiting at a traffic light, right? How many times, in line, oh, there should be a TV here to occupy me. And then there is even waiting. For me, I always find I read what I am needing in the moment. And many of you know I have a family member who suffers from depression and has had many years of challenge. And there are some days I find it's hard to have hope. And it's like I'm waiting for something. And as I looked at these different stages, I'm like, it's not about me. It is about his journey. And what if it wasn't about waiting at all, but just beholding and loving? And I get that message over and over again and again, but I guess I need to go deeper with that, because sometimes when I see people I love suffer, it is painful. So I invite you to gently close your eyes. If that feels right, if you want to keep your eyes open, that is okay too. And bring your awareness to your breath. Noticing your body. Noticing your feet. Your shoulders. Allowing them to softly let go, relax. Bringing your awareness to your back. And now gently focusing on your heart space. As you sense your breath flowing effortlessly in and out of your heart. As you call for your shy soul to reveal itself whenever it is ready. As you reflect on these words, when you're waiting, you're not doing nothing. You're doing the most important something there is. You're allowing your soul to grow up. To expand, to evolve. It is a time of nurturance, of rest, of stillness. And in the words of T.S. Eliot, oh, I said to my soul, be still and wait. Be still and wait without hope. For hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Wait without love, for love would be love of the wrong thing. There is yet faith, but the faith and the love are all in the waiting. Wait without thought, for you are not ready for thought. So the darkness shall be the light, and the stillness the dancing. Oh, speak to me, my soul. How has waiting shown up in my life? How has waiting been? And what might the stage of waiting be preparing me for? In soulful reflection. Spring is mud and miracle. Parker Palmer, an excerpt. Spring begins tentatively, but it advances with a tenacity that never fails to touch me. The smallest and most tender shoots insist on having their way, pressing up through the ground that looked only a few weeks earlier as if it would never grow anything again. The crocuses and snowdrops don't bloom for long, but their mere appearance, however brief, is always a harbinger of hope. And from those small beginnings, hope grows at a geometric rate. The days get longer, the winds get warmer, and the world grows green again. As my personal winters turn toward spring, I find it hard enough to keep slogging through the mud within. I find it even harder to credit the small harbingers of new life to come, hard to be hopeful until the outcome is secure. Spring teaches me to look more closely within myself and trust, oh yes, trust, the green tendrils of possibility, the intuitive hunch that may morph into a larger insight, the glance or a touch that may start to thaw a frozen relationship, the stranger's act of kindness that makes the world seem like home again. And so I invite you to, if it feels right, to close your eyes and focus on the in-breath and the out-breath. Sensing the energy of your breath with each inhalation and exhalation. Allowing to more fully relax your body. And to embrace yourself wherever you are, whatever you are feeling or thinking. Sensing your heartbeat. Oh, the beat of divine life, the mystery of it all is alive within you, within me. And the most profound is the smallest and most tender shoots insist on having their way with me, making themselves known. Oh, those tender shoots, the harbinger of hope that rises deep within my soul. Oh, spring is making itself known. Spring teaches me to look more closely within myself, to love myself wholly and completely, and to trust I am where I am supposed to be in this moment. And I trust the green tendrils of possibility, the intuitive hunch, forgiveness, kindness. And oh, I enter soul reflection as I ponder what tender shoots are appearing, are making themselves known to me. What possibility calls out to me. Let me commune with my soul. Your music brings tears and beauty to my heart, Laura. And now I'd like to share with you a poem called Jailbreak, written by Maya Specker. It's time to break out. Jailbreak time. Time to punch our way out of the dark winter prison. Lilacs are doing it in sudden explosions of soft purple. And the jasmine vines and the buttercups too. There is no jailer powerful enough to hold spring contained. Let that be a lesson. Stop holding back the blossoming. Quit shutting eyes and gritting teeth, curling fingers into fists, hunching shoulders. Lose your determination to remain unchanged. All the forces of nature want you to open. Their gentle nudge carries behind it the force of a flash flood. Why make a cell your home when the door is unlocked and the garden is waiting for you? Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, my breath grows deep. And breathing out, my breath grows slow. Breathing in, I sense calm. And breathing out, I sense ease. Breathing in, I smile. And breathing out, I release. Breathing in, present moment. Breathing out, wonderful moment. Is it time to break out? Where have I allowed myself to be in a self-imposed prison of my thoughts, of my greatest fear? Where am I afraid to take a risk, to shine my light? Oh, let me lose the determination to remain unchanged. For I know deep within my soul, there is no jailer. And yes, my soul beckons. My soul beckons gently, yet powerfully. The door is unlocked. Let me enter the garden that is waiting. What garden awaits me? What blossoming is beckoning to me? Oh, soul, speak to me. Laura, thank you for allowing my shy soul to come out and play with your shy soul. And I thank you all for allowing whatever you call it, your soul or whatever, to speak as we interact and not only commune within, but really sense the presence of and the truth of oneness in this moment. So before I close this portion of the service with a poem, I just wanted to let you know that this was, depending on where you were, you wanted to be in your budding all through the service, and some of you didn't want to journal, whatever, it's all okay. So there's so much. And so when you leave, there are the readings that I shared. Spring is Mud and Miracle, the Waiting quote, the Jailbreak quote, and then the ending poem. So take it with you, use it as a journaling, or not. It's okay. But I just know that for me, sometimes one poem can speak so much to me, and I stay with it for some time. So with that said, also Matt will put in the chat box, he's got the thumbs up, he's already ahead of me. There in the chat box, Matt put that there for you as well via Zoom. And so I'd like to, before I call Donna up to close our service out and we get to share, I'd like to share this poem, To Say Nothing But Thank You, written by Jean Lohman. All day, I tried to say nothing but thank you. Breathe the syllables in and out with every step. I take through the rooms of my house and outside into a profusion of shaggy-headed dandelions in the garden, where the tulips' black stamens shake in their crimson cups. I am saying thank you, yes, to the burgeoning spring and the cold wind of its changes. Gratitude comes easy after a hot shower, when my loosened muscles work. Anybody relate to that? When eyes and mind begin to clear and even unruly hair combs into place. Dialogue with the invisible can go on every minute. And surprisingly, gaiety, I am saying thank you as I remember who I am, a precious being. Learning to praise something as small as dandelion petals floating on the steaming surface of this bowl of vegetable soup. My happy, savoring tongue. And so with a grateful heart, I call forward Donna.